Panic-stricken reports about an emergency in the occupied Luhansk region are being spread on Russian Z channels. According to anonymous sources, about 300 prisoners who had previously been recruited into assault units of the Russian army have escaped from a military training ground in the so-called LNR. Maximum attention. About 300 stormtroopers escaped from the training ground in the LNR, all from the penal colonies. I can't say anything about weapons, but maximum attention. Warn everyone as much as possible. They won't necessarily advance in a crowd. Keep that in mind too, the message says. Although there is no official confirmation of this information yet, such cases have been recorded more than once. The Russian practice of sending convicts to the front, including for serious crimes, regularly leads to escapes within the aggressor's troops. Recruitment of prisoners became widespread back in 2022 when the founder of the Wagner PMC, Yevgeny Prigozhin, personally visited prisons and agitated convicts to join the ranks of mercenaries. In exchange, they were promised amnesty and cash payments. Later, after Prigozhin's mutiny and the actual defeat of Wagner, this scheme was completely adopted by the Russian Defense Ministry. It was this practice that became one of the factors in the disintegration of the Russian army. People without military experience and motivation were sent to the front, which led to huge losses and an increase in the criminalization of troops. Over time, regular units were mixed with criminals, which sharply undermined combat effectiveness and increased chaos in the command. The incident in Luhansk is yet another confirmation that the military mobilization system in Russia is bursting at the seams. The mass escape of hundreds of armed people in the occupied territory poses a threat not only to the local population but also to the Russian occupation structures themselves. Experts say that prisoners and criminals of the Russian army will drown Russia in a wave of crime. Federal government sources admit that even now, the system is struggling to cope with the influx of men returning from the front, many of whom suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, alcoholism, and aggression. If thousands of people return at once, the system will simply collapse, says one official. In Russia, there are practically no specialized rehabilitation centers or narrow-profile psychologists. Attempts to train students for this work do not inspire confidence even among the officials themselves. A senior, shell-shocked military man will not listen to a young student, the Ministry of Labor states. According to Fari Daily sources, the first year after the end of the war will be a year of mass drinking binges, a surge in violence and domestic crimes. A sharp increase in murders and serious crimes committed by former military personnel is already being recorded. According to the investigation by Verstka, in just 3 years of war, the heroes of the SVO killed and maimed more than 750 people. 378 people died, 376 were seriously injured. Most often, these crimes are associated with drunken domestic conflicts. The geography of the crimes covers 80 Russian regions, including annexed Crimea and Sevastopol. I'm a hero, I fought for you, and you are rear rats. With such aggression, many of them return home. They consider society to be indebted to them, but instead of gratitude, they face reality and take it out on their loved ones.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Friday Ukraine has started to prepare a security system on land, in the air, and at sea, aimed at pushing Russia towards peace. According to Associated Press, he said he could not yet disclose details, but stated that there were now 35 countries in the so-called coalition of the willing that would provide a framework of security guarantees to deter future Russian aggression. 26 of these were ready to help with real support of security, including the US, Zelensky said. It is important that security guarantees start working now, during the war, and not only after it ends, Zelensky told participants of the Ambrosetti Forum, an annual economic conference, via video call. The Ukrainian leader added that US President Donald Trump was very disappointed in Slovakia and Hungary for continuing to buy Russian oil. Energy independence from Russia is also key to strong relations with the United States, Zelensky said.
Even though Russia is trying to keep this war going, and we've already started building a security system that can push Russia toward peace. And of course, I can't share all the details now. Many of them are very sensitive and military related, but we are preparing strengths on the ground, in the air, at the sea, that by simply working as planned will pressure Russia to stop the war. When we talk about security guarantees for Ukraine, there are 35 countries in the coalition of the willing, and 26 of them are ready to help with real support for security. This is a big change, and these are strong countries, and Italy is, of course, is one of them, and President Trump confirmed America is ready to take part. In the next few weeks, we'll talk with each country about what exactly they can do. And it's important that security guarantees start working now during the war, not only after it ends. Yesterday, we had a conversation with President Trump. European leaders were also on the call, including Giorgia Meloni, of course, and we talked in detail about how to move the situation closer to peace. President Trump expects a stronger Europe with better coordination between Europe and the United States. At the same time, he's very disappointed with some European countries, especially Hungary and Slovakia, because they continue to buy Russian oil. That means they are helping to fund Russia's war machine. America wants to seriously cut Russia's income from energy exports, and this is the right path. The less money Putin makes from oil, the less he can spend on war and on destabilization of other countries. Please keep this in mind. Energy independence from Russia is also key to strong relations with the United States. Now in Ukraine, I have meetings with Antonio Costa, the president of the European Council, and with the Prime Minister, by the way, with the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Robert Fico, and we will talk about this as well. And it's important that Prime Minister Orban also hears these signals from the United States, directly from President Trump, the signal about Russian oil.